Hiya friends, Prepared Suburbanite here. Hey, I am so glad to say goodbye to August. It's been an awfully hot and humid weather month, at least for my personal taste. And I am so glad to say goodbye to August and at the same time welcome the wonderful month of September, where we're going to actually enjoy a little bit cooler weather, a little bit less humid weather, but a lot of things to do to get ready for the autumn season that's coming. So stick around. So if you've got a garden like we do, it's nothing huge. It's just kind of a hobby thing for us, but we are able to pack up and can quite a few pints and quarts of various vegetables, tomatoes, green beans, that kind of stuff, the stuff that we enjoy eating. And it's time to start thinking about turning the garden over. So we've got to pull the tomato plants, we've got to pull the green beans, we've got to pull the cucumbers, and we got to get them all taken care of and get the soil amended a little bit for the upcoming autumn and winter months, so that we can start anew in the spring with a new crop for our garden. So that's kind of one of the big thing that's on our agenda for the early part of September, and we want to be able to get this thing turned around and get it ready for the off season. At the same time, my wife is already starting to plan for planting winter crops, stuff that we can actually cover in our mini greenhouse and really get a little bit of extra out of the garden space that we use out here. Got to trim some trees. Our fruit trees didn't do really good this year at all. I'm not sure if it was a combination of weather and water and rain and dryness or whatever, but the fruits just never showed up this time around. And so I got to do some trimming on the fruit trees, and I got to get the 10-10-10 fertilizer out around the tree roots, so that will give them a little bit better chance next time around, next spring, and we'll see if we can get some good fruit, some good plums and apples this year out of our, or this coming year, out of our little fruit tree plot here. Along with that, the water tote that we use for watering our gardens, all that, is due for some upgrade and some repair. And the stand that I constructed for it to sit on is starting to sink into the mud a little bit, so I got to empty out the water tote and dump it all out, give it a good cleaning inside, and then re-level the base that the water tote's sitting on. And I'll take a picture of that so you can see what I'm talking about. And we've got to get firewood ready. We've got enough cut up from one of the big trees that fell last year that should be ready for burning this year. And so I got to move some of that stuff a little closer to the house and get our internal wood storage up to snuff again and get it all loaded up so that we can enjoy a fire in a fireplace from time to time. And we're also thinking about picking up an outdoor fire pit. Not sure which one we're going to get yet. Been looking around, doing some shopping around, but boy, they are expensive. They're $400 to $500 but I certainly do enjoy sitting around a campfire, and it might just be worth it to invest a little bit of extra in a fire pit that we can use on a regular basis. Along with that, it's also time to take a look at your external hose attachments for the water faucets that are outside. You want to make sure that you've got them fully disconnected before that first freeze hits, and it's probably in December sometime when we'll get that first freeze, at least down here in North Carolina. So I want to make sure that I remember to disconnect all the hoses, turn off the water, all that kind of stuff, so that I can protect myself from any kind of damage that freezing weather may bring us. And I've heard through the grapevine, and a little bit here and a little bit there, extended forecasts, that this winter may be a little bit colder and a little bit snowier than what we've experienced in the past. But we'll see. The weather forecasts have never been 100% accurate around here. We just lived through the most recent hurricane, Idella, and she came in and just skirted the Carolinas coast and is now up in the Virginia area, I guess, off the coast. And we got a little bit of rain, not a whole lot. We had a few gusty winds, but we were certainly out of harm's way the way the hurricane track went with this latest hurricane, not to mention how bad it was in Florida and South Georgia, where they really got hammered. And you know, with friends that live in Florida, we've reached out. They seem to be fine. A lot of flooding here and there, but everybody that we know in Florida is doing pretty well right now. So we're thankful for that. Also on the list is getting all the outdoor equipment, I guess the chainsaws and all that kind of stuff that we use outdoors on a regular basis, leaf blowers and pressure washers and all that kind of stuff, is to get them ready for kind of that off-season kind of thing. Now the chainsaw generally gets quite a workout in the fall. We'll see what happens this year, but this time last year we had a huge tree fall in our backyard, and it took quite a bit of chainsaw juice to get that thing cut up into usable sizes so that we could actually burn it. And it's ready now for this winter's use. But the chainsaw will probably get a little bit of extra workout this year as we clean up some of the downed limbs and this and that we see throughout the backyard and into the woods and stuff like that. But it's also time to really consider, when you do long-term storage for things like leaf blowers that you don't use after a certain day in October, and your power washers that you probably won't use in December and January, is to take proper care of those. Make sure that they're set up, that you've got the lines in your power washer drained, there's no extra water in there that can freeze up and cause problems. If you've got the type that takes some of the pump juice, the pump fluid, to keep things lubricated in there, it's time to consider doing that this fall. So there's a lot of things to be considered for this fall. As far as your preps go, I don't think I can say it often enough. Pretty much every other prepper channel that I tune into on a regular basis has seen what I've seen, and probably what you're experiencing, with prices that just continue to go up and up and up. Inflation is really putting a big dent in people's food budgets right now. There's all kinds of anecdotal stories about folks that are giving up meals so that they can pay for their utility bills, and they're cutting back on a lot of stuff because the prices are so crazy high, and it's not getting any, it's not getting any better any soon. So the Inflation Reduction Act really didn't do much of anything. In fact, it may have had just the opposite effect. And what's going on with all the nonsense in Washington, D.C. right now, your guess is as good as mine what's going to happen next. But take a good hard look. It's time to do your autumn or your fall inventory on your food storage preps, the water storage, whatever you've got out there, and make sure you know what you got and you start filling in any of the blanks that you notice. We notice from time to time, and I do try to keep track on a regular basis of what we've got in inventory, but every once in a while you go down to go to the pantry and go look for something like, oh, chicken broth. Oh, gee, we used the last can of that a couple of weeks ago and haven't restocked. So pay attention to little things like that, because it's going to make a big difference getting you through what's coming. This is the Prepared Suburbanite reminding you to be prepared always, and I'll see you all on the next video.